Okay, welcome to the first day of demonstration. So one thing that I want to go over real quickly before we begin again is just to reiterate that digital art is just a tool. I highly recommend that you go and if you haven't done figure drawing before, grab a pencil, charcoal, marker, paint, any of the actual mediums and practice on paper itself because digital art is just a tool. That's all it is. So the same process we want to follow regardless of whether we're on a computer or not, or any medium really. We want to be following those same processes. So let's start on the first figure drawing. Okay, keeping those same principles in mind, we're going to be talking about exactly how this works. And what I'd recommend doing actually is going in the beginning with maybe a light color and analyzing the model, analyzing the figure, creating your foundation work, and then moving into the final product. So this can be done if you're drawing, grab a colored pencil, grab a light yellow, light blue, and go ahead and really draw out that foundation and then going over it with a darker color. Fix your mistakes, push your pose even more. So like we said, what do we see when we're looking at a model? What should we look for? Well, first thing I'm immediately looking for is going to be the line of action, which is going through the body, which is going to be about right there. Contrapposto, I'm looking at the movement of the shoulders and the hip. What parts of the figure should be exaggerated the most? Probably going to be about right here. I'm really noticing this hand, which is where it's leading the eye, right? Seeing the tilt of the head, which is something that we're going to focus on. Fluidity of the body. Really, this is going to be one of the best things you can do is look at exaggerated poses. Really try to find poses in the beginning that are really exaggerated so you can really push them from the beginning. And then as you continue to do it more and more, you can then go ahead and grab poses that are perhaps more subtle. As we can see right here, really just one large stretch of the body. And then within right here, more of a squash sense. So we can then move this into our own drawing. So that's just what you're seeing in your mind. What am I thinking about when I'm seeing the model, when I'm seeing the figure? How am I going to work with the model? And how are shapes going to work? If I'm looking at shapes, yes, perhaps we're thinking about the regular anatomy where we have our head, which is going to be the one side, and the shoulders are in total of a 3 heads distance. And perhaps maybe we know that about 1.5 heads is going to be our rib cage, and that down below is going to be about 1 head. So maybe this is 1.5, and this is 1 head, and then from the top of the body to the lower portion right here, and then to the bottom is all equidistant. Perhaps we know all of that, but how do we create a character that is more than just a figure drawing? How do we push that for something for animation? How do we take it where we create a variation where perhaps the top portion of the body is larger than the bottom portion, or the bottom portion is larger than the top portion, to create an interesting character that has variation within the body? So that's something that we're going to look at right now. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line of action, which is going through right here, and I'm going to think about how it is that I want my figure. Generally, most people start off with the head. It's a good thing to do. Find the motion of the figure, which is going to be sort of moving back. What am I looking for? Well, I have this sense of what the figure is trying to do. Right? What is the figure trying to do? How is it moving? And so the line of action doesn't have to be through the center of the body, really. It can be, but what you should probably do is it's more to just help you see the movement of the body. How is it sort of working? How is it flowing? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sort of feel the pose. What I know that I want to do is I want to create this stretch which is going through for the figure. which means that really this should be going through, as we talk about for right here and right here. This is in the shoulder area, right? This is going out. And so we can identify the parts of the rib cage going through with about right there, moving in for this portion of the body, which is really felt right within there. And then this portion of the body, which is the lower half that we're seeing, which is sort of tilted, like so. And so as we see this stretch, which is right here, it's really important that we know, okay, well then probably what needs to happen is, let's grab this and push it up a bit. So what's nice about working on paper when you first start off is that you'll be able to really use the whole sheet of paper. You can really get a sense of your boundaries. So making sure this about here, I'm looking about here and here. It's probably going to be about, yeah, about right here is going to be where the feet are going to be. Looking at this sort of the hip. Now, if you're wondering what shape to use for the bottom part of the torso, yes, we usually use the box, but really it's going to be this sort of shape right here for the socket for where the leg can fit in. And so that is how we can push the pose even more. So let's talk about something, what is going through my head as I'm thinking about how exactly this pose should work. Well, what's really great about a book which was written, I'll link it in the description, it's called Force, is Force talks about what's called active and passive. And when we're looking at drawing for animation, it's very important to note what is active and passive. And so what exactly is active and passive? Well, I'll talk about it just a little bit right here so that you can get a sense of what it is exactly that I'm doing. Active and passive are dealing with the figure for one line moved to the next line. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You'll have one line, say for example, let's create a tube right here. And you'll see how this can help. If you have one line in which is active and active, well then the other side should be passive. Okay? And so how that works is you have one portion which is going to be working and one side which isn't. Great example is right here on this leg. Let's go ahead and look at the leg. Curvature moving down. Okay? One is going to have this curved motion, one is going to be straight. Curved motion, generally straight. And so it's switching. And so this right here is curved. This is straight. So this is the passive. This one is the active. And this one's straight, curved, active, passive. And so you see how it's moving from one to the next, which is generally something that's quite important to create the figure. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about when I'm looking at how is it that I want to design this. So I want to feel the stretch right within through there. And I want to feel the curve of the figure. Right through here, I want to feel the curve of the figure, where this is going to be for the hip, a more active position. Okay. And then I'm going to talk about how we create this in the second step into a more unique character. So as we were talking about, what happens then is in order to feel this pose, I really want to feel the weight, so I'm going straight down like that. And this one, as we said, it's going to be passive, which is leading down, or active, sorry, this one's active, and this one's going to be your passive one. And this is going to be active, and this is going to be your passive. And this leads with the foot. Okay? Then what we're doing is we're going ahead and grabbing our tubes again. So we're going to go out, general sense of right there. We have our perspective. This one's getting larger. Right there. Which then gets smaller as we lead up. Going with the hand, this sense of thumb going out. Fingers right there. I'm going to go, let's see, what do I want to do? When I'm looking right here, this is probably the active, this is the passive, active, passive. So I'm going to go ahead and create this right here. This one would be generally more inward. Then moving down. Just about like so. I think what I'll do is, as I'm looking at this, I'm saying, well, is this the correct size? And I'm looking and I'm saying, well, I think the foot should probably go down right here. And this foot should probably be brought up a bit. And so we can adjust. Which is what's nice about doing these layers of colors, that we can go over and then readjust accordingly. Okay? Just the same as right here. Do I like that? Well, I think I'm going to push it down slightly. I'm going to go back in here, and so I can get rid of this area right there. Get rid of that. I can go in, go over, while still feeling that. Just like that. And so it can be messy, that's fine. It's just about, are we getting the message across that we want to be getting for the character? So I'm going to tilt this even more. Now that I've got that going in here, adding the breasts, going in here, and the second one. And so they're really like water droplets if we're looking at the form. In here, I'm going to really push that out to connect that, and then lead that in with here. Okay, so now, how do we go about looking at our character? Well, we can add the details to it, but really what we're going to try to do is try to narrow this down into a character for animation. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the head. And really, as we know, it's going to be about the shape and the orientation. Which is going to be right there. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down a little bit more to the jawline. Okay, and we can really move this out feel the shoulders going down. As we said, the arm is coming out right there as you feel the shoulders. Just like that. And it's going in. Okay? For right here, we're going to be focused on the squash. So I'm going to go ahead and round that out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to really work with the portion right here to curve that a bit more. So what I can do is go ahead and add in the shoulder for the opposite side. And as we said, we're looking at passive and active. Right here we're looking at it's going to be passive. This is more curved. So it's going to be active. And on this side right here, we have the active. What it kind of leads into is more of a passive right there. And so we can go ahead and draw the hand. So for the hand, I'm kind of thinking, well, I really want to curve it right here. I want to curve that. I want to show that. I want to show it coming out. And I'm making this sort of glove shape. And then I'm going to come in. Generally make the shape of the thumb just for about right there. That's good enough for now. And then I'm going to curve this out even more so. I'm going to really push it. And then I'm going to grab the finger right now and have it go out. A little bit of curve. Okay. And then I can go down here. Right now I'm just going to collectively group them since it's two. And then we can go back in. So going back in, I know it's going to be about one right there. One right there. Okay. So this portion of the body right here is going in and it's curving out really. For right here, what we're dealing with, it's also going back in. Just about right there. Keeping the shoulder together. And so moving out, we can get that feel, right? The stomach, which is moving, or the belly, which is pushing out. Going about right there or so. Okay, feeling that, which is coming out and in. For the active part that we're talking about right here, I'm going to go ahead and push that out. I'm going to go up here, where the knee is going. And as we said, this portion is active. Okay. So then we're going to go down. Right here is the active portion. That's the active portion. This is the passive portion. And then for right here, this is the passive portion. Going straight down. Connecting at the knee joint right there. This is the active portion. Oops. Okay. Just push it out just a little bit more. And then right here, we're going to have it meet up at the ankle. And we're just going to do, for right now, do a bit of a triangle. 1 second. Just for right now. And then we'll go back in and add that. So Really want to focus on this leg though, because this leg right here is where the weight is going down, where we're feeling that weight, which is being put on the toes, which is through right there. Okay? So we really have the figure which is being moved right down through here. It's being pushed. Okay? So there you have that. Now, this is to get a general sense of how the figure is working, right? How does the figure work? I've pushed the figure a bit more, but we still need to finish off the bottom parts of it. For example, look right here. The ear, as we know, meets at the eye line. So it should be about right there. Interesting thing about hair. Hair can be really, really pushed to add to the character. Be really pushed. Add that in. So if you want to, generally what people will do is we will add interesting hairstyles that work for the character, not just for the sake, but that actually work with the character that we have. And so the hair comes off of the figure, off of the head. It's higher than, even though the head ends right here, it's going to be pushed off. You want to make sure that for the parts of which are close to the head, that you just follow the shape of the head, and for those that are pushed further off, that you are pushing that out. See that gap, that little space that's right there. Okay? Now what we'll do is make this a bit more organic right here. So, just going straight down. Okay? You can go ahead and look. And so then you can go ahead and get more creative with the head, with the face. And you can sort of add detail and whatnot. And so then it comes down to looking at the actual details of the face. But we're not as much interested in the actual face itself as we are the pose. And so really what you'll end up doing most of the time is you will end up not even having the face. What's more important than having the face itself, that comes in the final part. I'm adding it to show you sort of positioning, but really what's important is getting this. Where's the eye line? Where's the nose line halfway in between? And where's the line for the mouth? It's mostly about, we just want the pose. That's what's the most important to us. The pose and figure.